Hey guys, sorry I've been away for so long. College is no joke. Anyway, it's time for lecture number 8, creative writing and negotiating an idea. So today we're going to be talking about creative writing and why it's important in the context of business and why it is important, especially when you need to negotiate or explain your ideas. Sorry about my voice, I have a cold right now, so I don't know how it's going to come across to you guys. In this lecture, student will be able to learn and utilize creative writing strategies in a business setting. Student will be able to negotiate and explain their ideas and what they want using proper language and structure. Student will be able to use elaboration techniques to defend their ideas. So creative writing is the writing that you do specifically for an audience without dry facts and numbers. You're writing specifically for the people that are going to read your work to be entertained to some degree. So in business, you can write emails and memos that hold information, right? But if you can get your audience to be there with you, to relate to the idea that you're holding in your email or memo, then you're going to be so much more effective as a business professional. So dry facts versus engagement. When you have nothing but dry facts and numbers and your language isn't very clear, then all that happens is that people get put to sleep and that nobody wants to really pay attention. If you're engaging and your language is clear, then you're going to be so much more attractive as a speaker, and because people are relating to you, they're going to be much more willing to participate in the lecture itself. So what are some techniques that you can use? You can use anecdotes, elaboration, you can ask questions, and you involve your reader. We're going to go over each of these in some detail. So anecdotes are short stories from your own life that are relevant to the subject at hand. Anecdotes help add this sense of I know this person, the sense of relatability between you and your reader or your audience, okay? The reason that anecdotes are important is because if a reader agrees with you or they relate to you, they're also much more likely to be supportive of your ideas. Elaboration. It's one thing to explain what an idea is. It's another thing entirely for me to explain what its effects are and how good it's going to be, okay? So an idea I like to use is Google's new fiber program. So Google is setting up a fiber that will transmit data at the rate of 1 gigabit per second for the same cost as the local cable companies. However, that doesn't really tell you much, especially because as a business professional, you might know this, however, other people might not, right? And most people don't even understand what a gigabit is. So to explain this, you can do it much better with elaboration. Elaboration means you explain the idea much further than normal. So you explain that 1 gigabit per second means that they could download a Blu-ray level movie in 10 minutes, or that even though they're downloading so much faster, they're paying the same that they are now with cable prices. With elaboration, you have to be careful though. You don't want to put too much information. If your audience is drowning in information, they're very likely to stop paying attention. So you are going to have to figure out, as the speaker or as the writer, what is the perfect level of information that you need to put in. This is just something that you have to come across with experience. It's not something that can be taught right away. Asking questions is a great way to make sure that everybody in the audience is paying attention. If you ask them a question, they're forced to think about the ideas and how it relates to them. This is important because, again, if a person is relating to your ideas, they're much more likely to agree with you. Also, asking questions keeps the reader entertained depending on the style in which you ask questions. The last thing is just a summarization of the above. The more included the reader feels, the more invested they are in your idea. A great example of this is during speeches or during talks, politicians will ask questions that are specifically designed to move their readers or their audience into a specific thought, right? They ask you questions that force you to think along certain lines. This is what they want to achieve. Whether you agree with them or not is unimportant, because in the end, you are following their ideas instead of choosing your own path. They also choose readers, or they ask questions in such a way that the reader feels like it's being addressed to them personally. They will talk about how their family member did this, or how last weekend they personally did this, and this is to make them more human to you. All of these are very important skills that you need to know. Knowing your audience and using the skills that you learn to talk in the best way possible to your audience is key in getting your ideas across. So, say it's come time to negotiate with your boss. Maybe it's over a contract, or maybe it's your salary. Your ability to use those techniques will directly affect how successful you are at your negotiation. I have 4 P's that I like to call, right? Patience, preparation, positivity, and punctuation. The first and most important thing is patience. Not everybody is going to agree with you right away. You have to slowly work them towards you. You have to slowly get them to agree with you, and you need patience for this. If you are too aggressive, or if you are too driven, you might turn people off or away from you. The second thing is preparation. I cannot stress how important preparation is. I have seen hundreds of business pitches simply fail because the person was not prepared enough to answer the questions that the potential investors wanted, right? Or that they started a project and their boss would ask them how the project was going, and the project fell apart because they could not hold it together. This is especially important if you're writing a CV or if you're writing a resume, because in both of those, you need to be both patient and you need to prepare early so that you know your resume back and forth and that everything that you've done is on there. Positivity is very important. If you approach things with a negative attitude, generally things happen negatively. If you approach things with a positive attitude, generally you're much more likely to achieve success simply because you're thinking along those lines. Positivity is important. However, it's also, I think I should take this time to say, that sometimes you have to be negative. If an idea is just bad, you have a responsibility to say, perhaps in good terms, that, hey, maybe this isn't the best idea of all time, or hey, maybe this project isn't very thoroughly planned out, or maybe this project isn't very successfully going to be implemented. You have a responsibility to shut down anything that is bad, but you also have a responsibility to encourage things that are good. So positivity is very important. Your outlook in life is very important. Lastly, you have punctuation. The clarity of your grammar, the clarity of your language, and how well you speak and write are so important that without this, your idea might not get to the other person at all. So if you aren't punctuating properly, then your idea might as well not exist. Anyway, thanks for watching. I promise there will be more lectures. Thanks. Good luck. Take care.